Hey everybody, how's it going? It's the unlisted MLB algorithm video for Sunday, April 21st. Just prepare the file. We're already 11:30 and we have games starting. Actually, they don't start until 1:30, so that's good. I thought they were starting a little bit earlier today. I was wrong. All right, so let's talk about every game. We're using combination 488, which is our combination string that relies heavily on starting pitcher information. It's been reliable over the last 5 days that we've been running it, and it's been doing some pretty good things, even though yesterday was kind of a losing day overall. It wasn't a losing day up top. So let's take a look at this. This is outdated. It did not run the macro. So this is our look right now. I'm astonished to see this right off the bat, which is Miami over Chicago after we've been favoring the Cubs all week heavily. Now it's got Miami. Well, why is that? You look at that game, you can see that Kyle Hendricks is pitching terribly this year. His ERA is still hovering around 13 after 17 innings pitched. And Edwin Cabrera pitched a really nice first start for Miami. So you end up getting this flip on this game today, and Miami actually a number one pick. Astonishing. Um, Even though their lineup factor is not that great. So anyway, let's talk about just glancing at this, and as of course you can see, an insane amount of underdogs. I have to admit, I really like what this combination string is doing because it's relying so heavily on the starting pitcher that it's generating a lot of underdogs, of which we've been hitting a good deal of the underdogs up top. We hit Boston yesterday, we hit the Mets yesterday. Those were the two big underdogs in the top eight games, and they both won. And the only two teams that lost in the top eight yesterday were the Cubs losing 3-2 in the ninth, and Houston losing by a run to Washington. So there's something to this. So it says Miami, Washington at 145, Kansas City, Pittsburgh now over Boston. So now it's saying Pittsburgh instead of Boston today. Detroit again, it's missed these games all week long, so keep that in mind. We haven't got a Detroit Minnesota game right this week. The Dodgers over the Mets this time, and they have the line. And although look at the drastic drop in margin here, everybody. Huge difference between these top five teams and the next six, and then the next five that are just complete toss-ups. So all these games are going to go either way. These ones you're slightly favoring. You look at how low Phillies minus 290 is against the White Sox today. If the White Sox win a game, it might be today. Might be today's game. All right, so let's get back to, if you're not being greedy, if you're doing what the algorithm says, you're playing games with really high margin differentials. So that's Miami, Washington, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and Detroit. All of these lines are relatively reasonable. So this is definitely going to be one of my round robins today with these five teams for sure. So let's go and let's take a look. And I'm really hesitant to say that Miami is the pick of the day, even though they're number one on top here. So we need to go through every game and come up with a pick of the day as well, because we are 4 or 5 days in a row. I think 4 out of the last 5 days I've made a pick of the day designation, and it has won every single day. So let's keep that going. All right, Houston, Washington. A big fat 10 runs for Washington because Hunter Brown's ERA is also over 10 in third. He's 0-3. Look at this juicy underdog line with a good pitching Mitchell Parker against Hunter Brown, who's just not performed this year. That's why. So Houston would generally win this game if they had anybody who could pitch, but their bullpen and their starter are trouble. So Washington shows up here as a number 2 pick today. Unbelievable. Juicy underdog line. Boy, I tell you, when I see this, when I see 3 underdogs in the top 5, I can tell you that betting on all of these games in straight bets, there is more than an 80% chance you will be profitable making straight bets on these 5 teams today. It's just very difficult not to be profitable because 3 of these games are underdogs, and this is a minus 115, and even the bad one is only minus 145. So if you go 2-3, but catch 2 underdogs, you almost just about break even. And all you have to do is go 3-2 on these games, and they've got over 20% margin, and you have to make money. So that's probably happening. So let's go back. So Washington to win is on there. Tampa Bay and the Yankees. 7th pick, 9% margin, 4-3. Luis Gill is 0-1. Aaron Savale is a good pitcher. So that's why Tampa Bay, Savale, their lineup factor is less. The Yankees have been iffy and kind of had some offensive issues recently. They started off really strong, but they're having trouble putting up runs in earlier innings. That might continue today. But you can see it's a mixed bag because the ERA factor favors the Yankees and the lineup factor favors the Yankees. So it's going to be a close game, but you do get an underdog line out of Tampa Bay. So straight bet wise, not a bad idea. Tough for a parlay or a round robin, but straight bet, probably okay on Tampa Bay. So here we're favoring Pittsburgh over Boston, 5-2. Martin Perez is an excellent pitcher. That is why he's already got 24 innings under his belt. John Winkowski has a rough whip, actually, and usually doesn't pitch very much. Is this guy a no-name starter? Do they have a primary starter that's somebody different? I understand. It seems like this guy's a reliever. I think Boston might be messing around, and you can see this. He's got 11 innings, but an average of 1.6. So he must be normally a middle reliever or something. So this is sketchy. But you do have Perez's. Yeah, Perez is a good pitcher. And your lineup factor favors Pittsburgh and everything except ERA factor. So if they get out to a lead and can hold it, Pittsburgh's going to win this game. It's the worst line of this top 5, but because of Martin Perez, it says yes. So Pittsburgh's on there. White Sox in Philadelphia. Why is this game not? Why doesn't it put Philadelphia way on top like it should? The White Sox have won 2 games this year. I mean, it's like 85% of the time if you bet against the White Sox, you win. So what's the situation here? It's that Nick Nastrini is just about one of the only decent pitchers the White Sox have. Aaron Nola also pitches pretty well. He's 2-1. I mean, I understand the odds makers lines. It's just the algorithm. I don't know. The algorithm doesn't want to put this game higher up. So for whatever reason, it's saying you actually don't play this minus 290 today. This is only a 6% margin. That's not a lot. I guess it's saying Nick Nastrini can pitch well enough that they might hold Philly to fewer runs or something. I don't know. I'm going to stay away from it because I'll trust the algorithm putting this game all the way down as the 11th pick. It's not worth minus 290. But I'm also not betting on the White Sox. Like there will be no betting on the White Sox. Angels and the Cincinnati, not the Bengals, the Reds, 4.9 to 4.1. Very close game. Soriano losing pitcher this year, but about the same as Frankie Montas, who's also got more decisions and more pitching under his belt. These lineup factors are pretty low. That's why it's a battle. It's a battle. It's a battle. 9 runs. It's just a very unbettable game. Slightly favoring Cincinnati, but the line's consistent with it. You don't really want to take the Angels because Soriano doesn't even have a win. Frankie Montas, it's just way too close. So we're just going to ignore that game. Oakland and Cleveland. Cleveland, sure, a lot of people still beat Oakland. Ross Stripling's 0-4, 5 ERA. Tanner Beebe 1-0 with a 4.82. I mean, I don't know why this margin isn't bigger. That seems like it should be. Ross Stripling will go 6 innings, but he will lose because Oakland's losing. These whips are high and these ERAs are high. There's probably some runs in this game. To see this 7.5 is pretty low. And you hit with these ERAs, even though the lineup factors are not great. The bullpen ERA, it's close, but they probably get to 8 runs. As you can see, this says they get to 9.1 runs here. So a 5-3 game ends up getting over 7.5. So if you don't play a winner here because it's too close, the over 7.5 is not a bad idea. Baltimore and Kansas City. Here it's putting Kansas City up at number 3, putting up 8 runs because Cole Irvin's ERA is not good. And Seth Lugo is pitching absolutely superb. Look at the whip and the ERA are both 1.05. Baltimore normally hits a little better than Kansas City, but in this situation, it's Kansas City all day at home. It's not quite an under. It's minus 115 because Lugo is good, but Yeah, you want to see Lugo trying to go 4-0 here. This is a pretty solid pick. Um, they might lose, but they probably are going to win this game. You can see a lot of green here. Only thing that's not favoring them is the lineup factor, but their pitching is supposed to overwhelm Baltimore's batters, and Lugo should hold them to apparently, just like one run through the first 6 innings or something like that. And it's supposed to be the opposite. It's supposed to be like 6-1 Kansas City by the fifth or sixth inning. So we'll see what happens there. But Kansas City definitely a pick on that list. Detroit and Minnesota. We keep missing this series all week long. It likes Detroit at an underdog line today. Gives them a huge margin, and that is because Louis Barland is 0-3 with an 8.36 ERA. So look, this is a really weird situation where both of these lineup factors are not good and the teams are not hitting, but the pitching here is bad enough that Detroit is supposed to be able to win this game. So if you care about starting pitchers and their impact on the game, then you do take Detroit here. So Detroit is on the list. We'll hope we can win one of those games this week. Milwaukee, St. Louis. St. Louis, a low-scoring game, 4-1. Why? Cole Ray and Sonny Gray both pitching really well. Sonny Gray, a 0 ERA through 11 innings pitched this year, 2-0, and he hasn't let in a run. This is why it's kind of favoring St. Louis today. They're the 10th pick. Milwaukee's a pretty good team, and Colin Ray also a good pitcher. This is why it wants the under. Unfortunately, the under is set at 7.5, which is just too low to take an under when that's the number. Should be an excellent pitching duel though, and I feel like the odds makers just got this game exactly correct. Like the line makes sense for both teams. The over under makes sense. Like they didn't even make it 8. I would just stay away from the game. It's probably a good game to watch. Miami and the Cubs now. So Kyle Hendricks, 17 innings pitched, and he still got a 12. How many runs has he let? That means he's let up somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 runs in 17 innings, something like that. Whereas Edwin Cabrera, only 6 innings pitched, but he's pitched well. I know you see a weird distorted score here. It's just because this is the worst ERA of the day. So was Kyle Hendricks good last year? Let's check that. How did he pitch last year? Yeah, he was a good pitcher pitcher last year. He's just starting off terribly, but you do want to look at 2024 stats. So I'll tell you what, it's not the number one pick of the day. Miami's not a good enough team to be considered the number one pick. Like the pick of the day I give you as the pick of the day. But I can't turn him down on this list. And, never listen to me, always listen to the algorithm. So it does say they win. So they're going to be on there, but they're not the pick of the day because this is just too distorted and there's only 6 innings for Edwin Cabrera. So not the pick of the day, but definitely a pick to take. Seattle and Colorado, closest game of the day. They won 11 runs in this game because it's in Colorado. The ERAs are bad, makes sense. Lineup factors are Kirby's, yeah, it's no margin on this game. Wow. So I don't know what to tell you. Too close is what it is. Too close. You could probably take the over because it's Colorado, but it's also close there. So very difficult game to play and probably good to stay away from. Arizona, San Francisco, flat out tie. 2.8, 2.8. Really good pitching matchup. Yeah, of course the over-under set at 7.5 because neither of these teams are supposed to score more than 3 runs. It's supposed to be a 4-3 game. Close game all around, just really, really tough. There is no margin on this game. Probably goes to Arizona, barely, but just way too close to call. Mets and Dodgers. Today it finally likes the Dodgers in the series after picking the Mets 2 days in a row and having the Mets win 2 days in a row. That's because Tyler Glasnow is better than Adrian Hauser and is 3-1 already with 29 innings pitched already this season. What? He had 5 starts somehow? Yeah, they had those games in like South Korea to start off the year. That's probably why. So he's the reason why they probably beat the Mets today, but the line is bad. And the pick is right in the middle there. I'm gonna stay away from this game just because, but the algorithm would say take the Dodgers. Toronto and San Diego. Favoring Toronto. I think they won last night. Almost done. Um, bad ERAs, 8 runs, 9 runs expected. Number 8 pick. Bassett's a pretty good pitcher. Musgrove's okay, but his ERA is higher. You probably get an over in this game. Notice you got an underdog line with Toronto, decent straight bet, but not really a round robin parlay pick because it's too far down on the list. Texas Atlanta. Why? Is Michael Lorenzen has a 0 ERA and 5 innings pitched. That's why it's holding Atlanta to fewer runs. Darius Vines also pretty good under 4 innings pitched. Notice that there are really not very many innings being used in these pitchers today. So this game is that's why you're getting a weird over under number disproportionate to the projected score. This game is lacking enough of a full 2024 stat history to make a good assessment on it. Anytime you see some people with 0 ERAs, it distorts things. So I'll stay away from this game, but yeah, it's too far down the list. There's just a lot of reasons you don't have enough information. And then you've got the second game of the doubleheader with Seattle and Colorado. Emerson Hancock's got the 8 ERA. This is the game to go over because of this ERA, except Peter Lambert's actually pitching great. So here you have this underdog line of Colorado in the second game because of this distorted ERA matchup. So Colorado can win this game against Seattle, and that's probably the pick down here. So I know that was a lot. In summary, round robin coming out of me is this, and this. I think I am taking Detroit. Straight bet wise, like all these, yeah, the Lambert game, like these are all straight bet possibilities. I think it was an over somewhere. I don't know. I've talked too long. Good luck, everybody. May all your picks be winning. Definitely keep an eye out for these top 5 games. Oh, yeah. What's the pick of the day? What's the pick of the day? Hmm. Hmm. Well, I can't say no to this 10.65 ERA or whatever. Washington already has won a game in this series. Mitchell Parker's only got 5 innings. We're local here to the Nationals. It's number 2 and it's a plus 145. I'm gonna take a risk with it, and I'm gonna say the Nationals are the pick of the day. Game starts in Colorado. Should we go to the Nationals game? You guys want to stay here? We'll go to stay in town. We'll go to the Nats game.
Unfortunately, I have to go.
Well, we need to get a win. So it's gonna be the pick of the day. So
I understand that, but unfortunately, I have to go to work tomorrow.
you can get back late. You just get on 95 and be stuck in traffic for 8 hours.
Paying me for my YouTube viewers.
That's true. Fair enough. All right. Well, Washington will be the pick of the day. I will not be there to try to root them home, but we're going with them because the Miami Cubs game is just a little too suspect. So go Nats, go everybody. Good luck. May all your picks be winning, and we'll see you later.